Arch Manning has been called a future NFL superstar, but there's a catch. He's barely started in college football. He carries the weight of a famous last name, and the expectations that come with being the nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning are sky high. Arch was the #1 overall recruit in his class, but so far, he's started just 2 games and has thrown fewer than 100 passes. The hype is real, but the experience is limited. Now, with his first full season as the Texas Longhorns starting quarterback, all eyes are on him, especially with a massive opener against Ohio State looming. The question isn't just whether Arch can handle the pressure, it's what it really means to carry the Manning name in today's game. For Arch, the Manning legacy is more than just a family name. It's a constant presence, shaping every step he takes on the football field. The Manning family has set a standard that few in the sport can match, with Peyton and Eli both winning Super Bowls, and their father Archie leaving a mark as one of the NFL's most respected quarterbacks. The expectations for Arch are enormous. Every time he takes a snap, people wonder if he'll be the next in line to reach those heights. The comparisons are immediate, and the pressure is real. What sets the Manning approach apart is a focus on patience and development. Both Peyton and Eli spent over 4 years in college, using that time to grow as quarterbacks and leaders before heading to the NFL. They didn't rush their journeys. Instead, they built strong foundations, learning the game inside and out and showing that success comes from steady progress rather than instant results. This methodical path is something the family values deeply, and it's clear that Arch is following a similar blueprint. But the world Arch steps into is different from the one his uncles knew. Social media has changed the game for young athletes. When Peyton and Eli played in college, their performances were mostly judged by coaches, local fans, and sports writers. Today, every throw Arch makes is dissected online within seconds. His high school highlights went viral long before he arrived at Texas, turning him into a national figure before he'd even played a college down. And with just 11 FBS snaps against SEC competition to his name, the scrutiny is intense. Everyone is eager to judge his potential, even with such a limited sample size. This kind of spotlight can be overwhelming. For Arch, it means that every move, every stat, and every off-field moment is put under a microscope. Fans and analysts are quick to compare him to his uncles, often forgetting that he's still at the very beginning of his journey. The pressure to live up to the Manning name is always present, but it's magnified in an era where opinions spread instantly and expectations can skyrocket overnight. Choosing Texas was another move that set Arch apart. He could have picked a program with a recent track record of championships, but instead, he focused on where he believed he could develop best. His decision centered on head coach Steve Sarkisian's reputation for working with quarterbacks and building their skills over time. Sarkisian's approach matched the Manning philosophy: prioritize growth, learn the system, and become a true leader on and off the field. Arch wanted a place where he could take his time, learn from experienced coaches, and gradually take on more responsibility. Sarkisian himself has praised Arch for his humility, commitment to his teammates, saying that his positive attitude and work ethic stand out regardless of his famous last name. That kind of mindset is exactly what the Manning family has always encouraged. Vince Young, a Texas legend, has pointed out that Arch's willingness to learn and take things step by step is a strength, not a weakness. The Manning way isn't about chasing headlines or rushing to the next level. It's about understanding the game, developing leadership, and preparing for the challenges ahead. Peyton was known for his hours of film study at Tennessee, and Eli spent years quietly building his skills at Ole Miss. Arch is showing the same dedication, even as the world watches closely. Of course, the expectations won't stop in college. If anything, they'll grow as Arch gets closer to the NFL. The Manning name brings opportunities, but it also means that every success and every setback will be measured against some of the best to ever play the game. Eli faced plenty of criticism early in his career, but he answered with 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Peyton's rookie season in the NFL was full of mistakes, but he turned those lessons into a Hall of Fame career. The family knows that growth takes time and that early struggles don't define a player's future. For Arch, the key is staying grounded. Coaches, teammates, and even opponents describe him as focused, hardworking, and humble. He's not trying to be a carbon copy of his uncles. Instead, he's carving out his own path, making decisions that fit his goals and personality. Choosing Texas, working closely with Sarkisian, and embracing a step-by-step approach all show he's thinking about the long game. He's committed to building his skills and leadership, not just chasing quick success. That's why this season feels so important. Everyone wants to know if the Manning blueprint will work once again, if patience, hard work, and careful development can pay off in today's fast-moving, high-pressure college football world. There's excitement, but also uncertainty. Arch has the tools, the background, and the support, but the real test is what happens when he finally gets his chance to play. With so much attention and so many questions, it's natural to wonder if a handful of games can really reveal what Arch Manning is capable of. The sample size is small, but the stakes are high. Let's take a closer look at what his first real opportunities on the field have shown us thus far. When Arch Manning finally took the field for Texas in 2024, the conversation quickly shifted from speculation to observation. The spotlight was intense, but in those first real moments, he gave everyone a reason to pay attention. Flashes of brilliance, that's what people saw. Moments that hinted at both his potential and the challenges ahead. Let's talk about the numbers that had everyone buzzing. In his limited action, Arch posted a completion rate of 67.8%, threw 9 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions, and earned an 88.1 overall grade from Pro Football Focus. That PFF score placed him 13th among FBS quarterbacks with at least 200 snaps, a remarkable result for someone so new to the college stage. These stats stood out not just for their efficiency, but for what they suggested about his readiness to step up under pressure. What really separated Arch from many young quarterbacks was how he got those numbers. He showed a natural throwing motion and a quick release, driving the ball with velocity to all parts of the field. He didn't just hit open receivers, he led them, placing the ball where only they could get it. On timing routes, especially, you could see his anticipation. There were plays against UTSA that had fans and analysts replaying the moment, a deep throw under pressure, ball out before the break, hitting his receiver in stride. It wasn't just textbook, it was the kind of throw that gets NFL scouts to take notice. Arch's dual threat ability also stood out. He rushed for 4 touchdowns and picked up 108 yards on the ground, earning an 81.1 PFF rushing grade. That's not something you saw from Peyton or Eli. It's a new wrinkle, and it kept defenses off balance. He moved well in the pocket, extended plays, and showed he could make something happen with his legs if the first read wasn't there. In today's game, where mobility is almost a requirement for top quarterbacks, this part of his skill set made him a real asset for Texas. But as much as the highlights caught attention, there were moments that showed he's still developing. Manning's decision-making under pressure had its ups and downs. Analysts pointed to 2 turnover-worthy plays during his time on the field, moments where he tried to make something happen and it almost cost his team. These weren't just rookie mistakes. They were reminders that even the most talented quarterbacks need time to adjust to the speed and complexity of college defenses. Manning's internal clock, knowing when to get rid of the ball and when to take the safe play, will be an area to watch as he gains experience. Another thing people noticed was how the Texas offense played to his strengths. Coach Steve Sarkisian designed a scheme that let Arch get into a rhythm quickly, using short timing throws and read option looks to keep him comfortable. It worked. But it also left some wondering how he'll adapt when defenses adjust or when the game plan doesn't go as expected. The next step for Arch will be showing he can make adjustments on the fly, especially against opponents who disguise coverages or bring unexpected pressure. Even with such a small sample size, the excitement around Arch's performance was justified. He showed poise, strong fundamentals, and the ability to step up in big moments, even as a newcomer with the weight of a famous name. Some fans and analysts started drawing early comparisons to other young quarterbacks who made an immediate impact. But it's important to remember how little we've seen. 2 games can show a lot, but they can't answer every question. There's also the challenge of evaluating a quarterback with so little college experience. Scouts and coaches know that potential is just the starting point. Consistency, resilience, and the ability to learn from mistakes are what separate great prospects from great players. For Arch, the flashes of brilliance are encouraging, but the real test will be how he responds when things don't go as planned, when the defense is tougher, the game is faster, and the stakes are higher. What we learned from 2024 is that Arch Manning has the tools. His arm talent, mobility, and football intelligence are clear. He can make the throws, extend plays, and lead an offense. But the season also reminded us that potential isn't the same as production over the long haul. The next phase of his career will be about turning those flashes into sustained excellence. Now, as he prepares to lead Texas into a new season, the big question becomes whether he can handle the demands of being the starting quarterback week after week. The upcoming schedule is filled with high-profile matchups and big moments. The pressure will only increase, and every snap will be another chance to prove whether these early flashes were just the beginning of something special. This year, the spotlight on Arch Manning intensifies as he faces what might be the most demanding stretch of games in college football. The 2025 season opens with a true measuring stick, a road game against the defending national champion, Ohio State. It's much more than just a season opener. It's a national event. The Buckeyes are coming off a title, and the atmosphere in Columbus is known for being one of the toughest in the country. Eli Manning himself called it not going to be an easy task, and he's right. For Arch, this matchup isn't just about making a good first impression. It's about proving he can handle the highest level of pressure from the very start. The stakes are clear, play well, and the conversation around his Heisman hopes and NFL potential will explode. Struggle, and the questions will only grow louder. After that high-stakes opener, the schedule gives Arch a chance to settle in. The rest of September serves as a tune-up period, with games against teams like San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston State. These matchups might not grab national headlines, but they're crucial for Manning and the Longhorns. Texas lost key players to the NFL draft, so Arch needs time to build chemistry with a new group of receivers and tight ends. These early games give him the space to work on timing, test his command of the offense, and develop trust with his teammates. For a quarterback stepping into a leadership role, this stretch is about more than just putting up numbers. It's about laying the foundation for the season. But the breathing room doesn't last long. October brings two of the biggest tests Arch will face all year, and these games could shape not just Texas's season, but Manning's own reputation. First, there's a trip to Gainesville to face Florida on October 4th. The Gators are always tough at home, and this matchup is already being called a quarterback showdown. It's a chance for Arch to go head-to-head with another top talent in a hostile environment. Just a week later, Texas heads into the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma. This annual clash is never short on drama, and Oklahoma's defense is loaded with talent. These back-to-back games are about more than just SEC standings. They're pivotal for Arch's Heisman campaign and will be watched closely by NFL scouts. Big performances here can make a season. Mistakes can linger in the conversation for weeks. The rest of the SEC schedule is no walk in the park, but it's worth noting that only two SEC opponents finished with winning conference records last year. That means the middle chunk of Texas's schedule, while always demanding due to the nature of the league, is at least a bit more manageable than it might seem on paper. Games against Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt will test Arch's consistency and focus. These are the kinds of matchups where a young quarterback can't afford to lose concentration. Even so, the real spotlight remains on the headline games, where every play gets magnified. As the season winds down, Texas faces a closing stretch that will define both the team's playoff hopes and Arch's legacy. The Longhorns travel to Georgia for what could be the toughest game of the year. The Bulldogs are projected to have one of the best defenses in the country, and playing them on the road is a true test for any quarterback. This is the type of game NFL evaluators circle on the calendar. They'll be watching how Arch handles pressure, reads blitzes, and makes decisions against a top-tier defense. A strong performance here could push his Heisman candidacy into the national conversation, while also answering some of the biggest questions scouts have about him. After Georgia, Texas finishes the regular season at home against Arkansas and Texas A&M. Both are rivalry games, filled with emotion and history. These matchups are about more than just records. They're about pride, resilience, and the ability to perform when everyone is watching. For Arch, these games are a chance to show leadership, bounce back from adversity, and prove he can carry the Longhorns through the most intense moments of the season. With all this in mind, the expectations around Arch Manning are sky high. ESPN's Tier 1B ranking for the Texas quarterback situation highlights the pressure he's under. The talent is there, but it's the ability to deliver in key moments that will determine how this season is remembered. The challenge isn't just about putting up stats and winning easy games. It's about rising to the occasion when the spotlight is brightest. Texas fans want to see if Arch can be the leader they've been waiting for, and the national media will dissect every move he makes. One of the biggest questions heading into the season is how quickly Arch can adapt to his new supporting cast. The offense has been reshaped, and while there's excitement about the young talent stepping into bigger roles, it takes time to develop the kind of trust and timing that makes an offense click. Those early September games are important for building that foundation, but the real answers will come when the competition stiffens. This season is a proving ground for Arch Manning. Every major moment, every tough opponent, every high-pressure snap will be weighed and analyzed. The schedule will test his growth, his leadership, and his ability to handle the kind of attention few college quarterbacks ever experience. There's a lot riding on how he performs, not just for Texas, but for his own future. As the spotlight grows, there's another layer to the story: how NFL scouts are watching Arch's every move. The excitement is real, but so is the uncertainty. What are the real questions scouts have about Arch Manning, and what will it take to answer them? Scouts across the NFL are approaching Arch Manning with a unique blend of anticipation and careful restraint. The excitement is obvious. He has the physical tools, the athleticism, and the poise that teams crave in a modern quarterback. But underneath the buzz is a real sense of caution. The main dilemma for scouts isn't just about the hype that comes with his last name. It's about how little there is to go on when projecting his future at the next level. One direct quote from an AFC scouting director sums up the skepticism. "The current body of work is not nearly enough." That's the heart of the issue. Arch's 2024 season gave us glimpses, just 2 starts, a handful of high-pressure moments, and flashes of the kind of playmaking that gets scouts talking. But for every highlight, there's a question about what happens over the grind of a full season. With such a small sample size, it's tough for any evaluator to draw firm conclusions. It's not about doubting his talent. It's about needing to see if those flashes can become a steady pattern. What jumps out the most to scouts is Arch's natural ability. His athleticism is a big plus. He moves well, extends plays, can pick up yards with his legs when the pocket collapses. That's not something you saw from Peyton or Eli at the college level. His arm talent is another standout. One AFC quarterback's coach said Arch's throwing ability is special and predicted he could be a top 10 thrower in the league right away. The ball jumps out of his hand, and he can make throws to every part of the field. That's why you hear comparisons to players like Patrick Mahomes and Caleb Williams. But for all the praise, scouts are clear. The next step is proving he can do it week in and week out, not just in brief stretches. Among the most pressing concerns is the accuracy of his deep throws under pressure. According to Pro Football Focus, Arch posted a 56.3% accuracy rating on deep passes, a number that leaves room for improvement, especially when projecting to the NFL, where windows are tighter and mistakes are punished. Scouts have seen him force throws into coverage, particularly when defenses disguise their looks or bring extra pressure. These aren't deal breakers for a young quarterback, but they are red flags that will get extra attention as the 2025 season unfolds. The ability to read defenses quickly, stay calm when the pocket collapses, and know when to take a safe play versus forcing a risky throw. These are the skills that separate a project from a true franchise quarterback. There's also the question of consistency. 2 games in 2024 showed what Arch could do, but they didn't answer whether he can maintain that level of play over a full SEC schedule. Scouts want to see him handle adversity, bounce back from mistakes, and keep his composure when things aren't going according to plan. One NFC coordinator pointed out that deep ball accuracy and the ability to make plays under pressure are the key areas to watch. It's not enough to have a few great moments. NFL teams want to see steady decision-making, especially when the stakes are highest. Arch's ability to elevate his teammates is another area under the microscope. Analysts and scouts alike are looking for leadership. Can he rally the offense in a tough spot, make adjustments on the fly, and inspire confidence in the huddle? These intangibles are often what separates good prospects from great ones. One analyst noted that the ability to elevate the players around him will be the true test of his talent. It's about more than just stats. It's about how he manages the game, controls the tempo, and responds when his team needs a spark. Despite all the questions, there's optimism. Arch Manning's natural gifts give him a real shot to be special. The consensus among NFL insiders is that he has the tools to become a franchise quarterback, but only if he can show growth and consistency over a full season. The 2025 campaign is set up as a proving ground, not just for Arch's skills, but for his ability to handle the demands of a top college program and the scrutiny that comes with his name. What will determine his draft stock isn't his family legacy or the preseason buzz. It's what he does on the field, snap after snap, when the pressure is on. If Arch can show that he's more than just a name, that he can manage a game, make smart decisions, and deliver in big moments, he'll move from being a prospect with upside to a player teams are willing to build around. But if the season exposes inconsistency or struggles with decision-making, scouts will see him as a project that needs more time. This is the reality for a player in Arch's position. The tools are there, but the questions are real. The only way to answer them is through performance, and that's what everyone in the football world will be watching for in 2025. The stage is set for Arch Manning to show if he can turn potential into proven ability, and that journey is about to begin. As Arch Manning steps into the 2025 season, all eyes are on the 3 defining matchups: Ohio State, the Florida and Oklahoma stretch, and the late season test against Georgia. These games will be the true measure of whether his potential can translate into consistent performance against elite competition. Scouts have made it clear, hype alone won't predict his future. What matters now is how Arch handles the grind and pressure of a full season, especially when the stakes are highest. Which Arch Manning moment are you most looking forward to this season? Let us know in the comments below.